Good day, everybody. I have something very special to show you in this video because I am going to give you a demo of a tool that I've been working on for both RuneScape 3 and old school RuneScape. The short and sweet of it is, this tool simulates 10,000 players grinding a selected boss until all 10,000 of them have obtained the specified drops, then creates a chart to show you the percentage of players that got the drops within a certain kill count. What does this mean? And why does anybody care? Let me explain. A core part of playing either RuneScape is grinding bosses, grinding Slayer, grinding for drops and drops logs, whether you are just a completionist going for the whole log or whether you're an iron player going for the drops yourself. You will be killing a lot of bosses. Many bosses, many kills throughout RuneScape, thousands of them in fact. Now because of this, most players are familiar with some tools in maybe the RuneScape wikis that show you the odds you have of getting a certain drop within a certain number of kills. But this isn't entirely helpful if you're asking yourself, what kind of a grind am I realistically expecting here? Maybe if you're only going for one particular item that has a simple drop rate, 1 in 200, 1 in 1000, whatever, those calculators can help. But what if you're going for multiple items or an entire log? Or what if you're going for a Nox bow and you need a hilt piece and 3 legs? What if you're going for Zamorak at varying enrages? Things get a little bit more complicated there. So a while back, I started working on this tool by making simulators specifically for grinding the 3 top tier bows in RuneScape 3, the Noxious Longbow, Saren Godbow, and Bow of the Last Guardian. As I've been playing only Iron Man mode for a long time myself, I really wanted to see what my grind would look like for all the parts needed for each of these bows. As I mentioned before, the existing wiki calculators don't really cut it when you have bosses like Zamorak and Telos, and it's not just the streaking mechanic at Telos that you can account for, which there is a calculator for, but it's that you need 3 orbs plus the Dormant Godbow piece. Rather than just looking at the drop rate for each item, a much more interesting indicator to me of what I have to look forward to in a grind, which I've created in these simulators, is being able to see what percentile a player falls into if they've managed to complete the specified grind after a certain number of kills. For example, let's say I'm ready to start my Zook hard mode grind and I want all the major drops, 1 of each, the Codex and the Scripture of Fool, and 3 Exakill pieces. I can see that 55% of players got all above drops, all 5 of them, between 108 and 119 kills. If that seems low for all 5 of these drops, it's partially because the sword pieces can drop on the same kill as a Scripture of Fool or a Magma Tempest Codex. They're in different drop tables, more on that later. So I know that if I am at around 100 kills or under 120 kills and I don't have 1 of each of these and 3 sword pieces yet, I'm not terribly unlucky yet. I can also see that 75.55% of players in this simulation had all the drops by 140 to 152 kills, so they stretched out that far. So if I'm at 150 kills in my hard mode Zook grind and I still don't have all the drops, I'm a bit unlucky, but it's not unheard of. And then of course there's the 95th percentile, the 5th percentile of people that don't have the drop log yet with over 200 kills. If you're at over 200 Zook kills and you don't have this much of the log yet, you can consider yourself quite unlucky. I will demo much more detailed examples, but that was just a brief overview to visualize what I'm explaining here to make it easier to understand. Anyways, as a result of my own curiosity to see which top tier RuneScape bow is the most worth the grind, these simulators were born, and the reception for these things when I posted to YouTube and Reddit was amazing. I got tons of comments from you guys to please make more and please make a simulator for this boss and the other. So here we are today. I have seriously expanded these things. I've built simulators for entire drop logs, not just a few bows, with way more bosses in both RuneScapes and counting. I'm still adding more. Streamlined the interface and the design a little bit and made it more intuitive for others to use, not just myself. And I call this tool my RS10K simulators. And unlike my bow-specific simulators, I am looking to publish these simulators somewhere when they're ready to be free and easy to use by anyone. So now I want to jump into a demo with a few bosses to show you how they work. The most requested boss for me to build a simulator for last time was Kerapac, so we've got to cover him, and he's a great example with simple drop mechanics. So here's the simulator in its basic form. Here's the flow. Ready? Step 1, select my game. I am looking at Kerapac, so I will hit RuneScape 3. Kerapac is here in the Elder God Wars dungeon section, and now I get to his drops. Here I can tick off which drops I am going for. I'm going to say all of them, and I'm also going to say I'm doing hard mode. Thusly, I am also going for 3 Fractured Staff of Armadyl pieces. Now, for Kerapac specifically, we have multiple drop piles, right? 3 if you're killing him solo, 1 if you're in a trio, and 2 is if you're doing like a duo, and sometimes you get 3, sometimes you get 2, whatever. That's just there for fun. But let's say I'm soloing him. That's it for Kerapac. Now I just hit this Run 10,000 Simulations button. it goes, and here is my chart. So what does all this mean? Well, 50% of players who are grinding Kerapac that were in the simulation, so roughly 5,000 of them out of the 10,000, completed this log. All 3 Fractured Staff of Armadillo pieces, the Greater Concentrated Blast Codex, Scripture of Jazz, Kerapac's wrist wraps. 50% of players got at least 1 of each of these and all 3 staff pieces within about 500 to 540 kills, 498 to 453 kills. These kills are in a range because this graph has 50 points. It's an arbitrary decision by me, so the range here represents 1 point on a graph, and it's easier to clump players like that rather than have 10,000 dots on this graph. Anyways, technical thing, but just thought I'd explain that. Now, I can see that 75% of players roughly got this full log within like 680 to 725 kills, so not terribly unlucky, but you could easily be looking at that yourself, and you'd still fall within a reasonable percentile. And all of us either are or know somebody who is in this percentile, who has gone over 1,000 hard mode Kerapac kills solo and still does not have the Fractured Staff, especially those poor irons. Salute to you guys. So know that if you are stretching to over 1,000 Kerapac hard mode solos and you don't have the staff yet, it happens. It is possible to like 5% of players, and theoretically speaking, 1 kill has nothing to do with the next, right? Just because you've killed them 1,000 times doesn't mean that you're guaranteed anything in the next few kills. But just statistically speaking, know that it is really improbable overall that you'll be going much farther than 1,000 kills. So that is the basics of how this calculator works. Now, one cool thing about this is, let's say I am not looking for any Fractured Staff pieces. I can customize this based on what I have. Dumb example, but let's say I either don't care about the Fractured Staff or I have all the pieces already, whatever. I just want these. I'm an iron or something. I need the Codex. I need a Scripture of Jazz, and I need the wrist wraps. So let's say I am not in hard mode. I'm regular and I'm soloing. I can see what that grind can potentially look like as well. About 57% of players have that within 450 to 500 kills. So to fall within a pretty reasonable percentile, like a moderate luck percentile, this 76%, I could be looking at around 600 to 682 kills, right? Let's say I am totally an iron. I am looking to buff up my mage setup, and I just want, for now, Greater Concentrated Blast. I can run that too. And I see that about 50% of players have that within 200 kills. So if I don't have that Codex drop within this range, I'm not terribly lucky, terribly unlucky, but there's a good chance I'll have it there, right? That's how you read this. Now let's say I try hard mode. Drop rates in hard mode are a little bit better, right? And by the way, one of the design features I'm looking to add before I publish this is clearly showing the drop rates for each of these items in hard mode and normal mode. But anyways, we run this, and of course, most players, well, 50% of players get the Greater Concentrated Blast at around 150 kills, like 134 to 167 kills. If you are just looking to beef up your mage setup, you probably won't be doing hard mode, but, you know, it's there just so you can see. So that's basically how this simulator works. Now, there are more complicated bosses with more complicated drop mechanics, and I will account for those too, but we'll get to that in a second. Next up, I want to demo another boss that has simple drop mechanics, but has been a bit controversial around his drop log in the past few months. Anybody who cruises Reddit regularly will know that players have been having wild and varying experiences with Rasial logs. Even accounting for the fact that drop logs posted on Reddit are usually from players experiencing extreme good or extreme bad luck, there's a simple reason that luck varies so much from player to player, and it's easy to demo with my simulator, actually. In RuneScape 3, there are 3 types of drop tables that most drops fall into: main, secondary, and tertiary. I don't want to get too sidetracked in this video in details on that, but Rasial's rares function essentially like tertiary drops. This is because tertiary drops, well, they differ from main and secondary drops in that it's possible for 1 kill to produce multiple rare item in tertiary drop tables, as long as they're in different drop groups. In Rasial's case, there are 2 rare item drop groups, the weapons and armor. 3 groups, technically, if you count the pet, so it's possible with extreme luck to get a weapon, an armor piece, and a pet drop in the same kill. Very rare, but possible. It's not possible to get 2 weapons in the same kill, though, or multiple pieces of armor in the same kill, because those are in the same drop group. This actually sounds favorable for players going for log completion, but the strange thing is that although the chance of receiving any unique drop per kill is kind of high, the chance of receiving a specific piece is really low. As detailed in that one news post on the RuneScape 3 page, killing Rasial has a 1 in 320 chance to hit the weapons drop table. Then it's a 50-50 chance at which weapon is dropped. Likewise, there's a 1 in 128 chance to hit the armor drop table, and then it's an even chance at each of the 5 armor pieces in that table. This translates to a 1 in 640 chance for each weapon per kill, as well as a 1 in 640 chance for a specific armor piece each kill. So let's have a quick demo to see what we can expect when we go for multiple Rasial drops versus 1 or 2 specific pieces. Okay, so I go to RuneScape 3 and I go to Rasial. Here I have all of his items. You might have already noticed, but there are no pets in my simulators yet. I just haven't gotten to that yet, but before I publish, I will have that as well. Anyways, let's see what a full log looks like, shall we? These are essentially the 2 drop groups, the 2 weapons and then the 5 armor pieces. Let's run that. We see that about 55% of simulated players completed this log in 1,600 to 1,761 kills. A lot, but just from cruising Reddit myself, I see that this is a fairly typical range for players to post a successful log. I have also seen a lot of posts in this percentile or higher, like 4,000 kills or whatnot, so it does happen. And there are also players I've posted in this range, like a, let's see, 6.55% percentile, according to this simulator, that completed the log within like 700 to 900 kills. I am just rounding here. So that's the spread, that's the percentile distribution for players going for the whole log. So you can see with moderate luck, you might end up in the 75 percentile. You're looking at about 2,000 kills probably, or a bit more for the log. This is because with Rasial, there is a strong chance that you will get multiple duplicates of all the other pieces. It's kind of like Barrows. There is a strong chance that you'll get multiple duplicates before you get one of each and every single item. Now, let's say I want just the weapons, right? Let's demo this. So I just want the weapons. We can see that about 55% of these simulated players stretch out to about 1,000 kills for this. Weird, right? Because about 50% of players stretched out to like 1,600 kills for the entire log. It's due to the nature, like the way that this drop table kind of works, like a tertiary drop table. Because each kill that produces one of these weapons also has a chance to produce one of these armor pieces. By the time I get one of each of these, and it is totally possible with weird luck to have like 5 Omni Guards before my first Soulbound Lantern, right? There's a solid chance that along the way I'll have also gotten a lot of these pieces. Now, let's say I'm going for one specific piece. Let's say I have the entire log, right? I'm just missing the Omni Guard. I've already had like 1,000 kills. I just need this. Statistically speaking, let's see what I'm looking at. Well, 51% of players get the Omni Guard by in the range of around 460 to 581 kills, right? Now, let's say I am going for both weapons and the crown. Those are the ones I'm missing, right? We simulate, and we see that the range changes a little bit, but about 1,000 to 1,100, but not by much. So it's a weird log, right? As we can see again, let's say I need one armor piece and both weapons. Statistically speaking, the amount of kills I need to be in the same percentile don't go up by too much. It goes up by like 100 or 200 kills from 900 to 800 to 900 rather. I hope that all makes sense, and I hope that illustrates just that this is a really weird log in the way that it turned out with these drop tables. Again, there's a very strong chance within 1,000 kills that you'll have multiple of these drops. There's also a solid chance that you'll go very dry, but there is a very bad chance that you'll have had one of each of these. So for irons and completionists, Rasial is actually a pretty terrible grind, I would say, my opinion. And there we have that. That is the kind of insight that we can get from a simulator like this. Much more than just looking at the simple drop rates for different items. Regarding bosses with non-standard drop tables, like I mentioned before, I am working on it. Zamorak I am almost done with. It's a complicated formula, not too bad though, it's actually fun to work on. Also, there are bosses like Telos and the Arc Glacior that both use Streak and Enrage in their formulas. I'm also adding simulators for old school RuneScape bosses, as I mentioned, and I am planning on creating custom ones as well for like raids, like the Tombs of Amaskut and Chambers of Zarek, which also have non-standard formulas for their drops that are pretty complicated. I'm sure that Iron players especially would also love to know what a Corrupted Gauntlet grind for 1 or 2 enhanced weapon seeds and 6 armor seeds and 1 or 2 regular weapon seeds looks like. Things are moving along really well so far, and I'm excited to add more and more bosses and content to this tool. There are many other features I'm planning on adding too. Some that come to mind for sure for many of you are that there isn't a pet drop option like I mentioned before, and what log is complete without the pet, right? So that'll be on there, definitely. I also want to add an option to tick on different luck tiers where relevant. for the RuneScape 3 simulators and see what kind of a difference that makes. Please let me know in the comments as well if there are other obvious features I'm missing here or any options you'd like to see added. Now, I want to mention probably the most important part of the RS10K simulators, how I can make these accessible for all of you to use, and I do want feedback and suggestions on this from you. For any fellow software nerds watching, I learned React Native just to build this tool, and this allows me to publish this tool easily on a website, but also for Android and iPhone as well. I think most people will prefer going to a website for this kind of thing rather than downloading a specific app for it, but my thinking is that it would give you access to this tool anywhere, anytime, since nothing in this tool requires an internet connection, but going to a website, of course, does. But regarding the website hosting of this tool, I see a few options. Number one, I can pop up my own website and host this as a standalone tool for both RuneScapes. This wouldn't be too difficult, though it would incur some costs on my end of hosting websites, so I will definitely run some ads on the side and have a nice donation button somewhere. I'm not interested in profiting from this, just to be clear, so I'm not talking anything too invasive, just something to help cover those hosting costs. This actually isn't any different from existing RuneScape tool websites that I've seen regarding running ads and all that. Which brings me to option number two. I can get myself in touch with fellow players who host these kinds of sites that most players are already familiar with and have this as another tool added there. The only issue I see with this is that I'll likely have to split my tool into two simulators, one for RS3 and one for old school, since I haven't seen any tool and calculator websites yet that host tools for both. I might be wrong on that. Please let me know in the comments if there is one that you know of. So now I really want to know, what would be easiest for you, the players? What would you actually use? If you'd be interested in using these simulators, would you go to a brand new website just for this? Or would you actually prefer an easy to pop open app instead of going to a website? Or is it easiest to stick this in something like oldschool.tools, website that you might already use regularly if you're an old school player? Please let me know what you think. I want more than anything for this project to be accessible to and useful to both RuneScape player bases. Drop logs are such a focus of RuneScape players that I just really wanted to make something that helps put things into perspective for a lot of players, more than just Reddit posts of extreme luck. I will be contacting hosts of other tools websites myself pretty shortly, but if you happen to be one of those hosts and stumble upon this video, please feel free to let me know as well what you think about my simulators. I have also popped open a Discord server just for this. The link is in the description. Please check that out if you're interested in discussions around this and suggestions and helping evolve this thing there. Lastly, please let me know in the comments which bosses from either RuneScape you'd like to have simulators for that you didn't see added here yet. My plan is to also make a mini video series discussing RNG and different types of drop tables and formulas and how they work, using my simulators as demo pieces. If you've made it this far into this video, thank you very much for watching my demo. I hope it all made sense. It's a very special project to me, and I appreciate your support very much. Good luck on your own boss grinds, and I'll catch you in the next one.